So these are three pillars of design: Formitas, Utilitas, Venistas, and most of us who are familiar with design in any manner, they are not only relevant in building field, but they apply to all design aspects, uh, would know about it. These are the triad framed by Vitruvius around 1 BC, and subsequently, some of us who have been in field would also note that there are three other features which are very predominant in any design aspect: cost, time, and quality. And of late, in past 2 decades, two other aspects, this environment sustainability, has become very centric to most of the narratives. So for me also, over past 20 years, these 6 or 7 aspects have been centric to the work that I have been doing. And it was just few years ago that I realized that I had not really touched anybody's life in a way that mattered to me. And that was the beginning of search for architecture for health, happiness, and harmony. And the idea to create happiness, architecture of well-being. So that's how this journey began, and I'm going to share with you what is bioenergetic architecture. First, I'll just tell you this bioenergetic word itself means it's the science of energy exchange between living systems and their environment. And taking a cue from the same thing, when we relate it to the space, that became the idea on which bioenergetic architecture was founded in April 2019. Because it's a multi-dimensional subject, what I'm trying to do is share with you 4 stories with some videos, clippings, and after each story, I leave you with some thoughts. The idea is that even these 4 stories may look disjointed at first, but eventually they'll all come together seamlessly to give you an idea, holistic idea of what bioenergetic architecture is all about. Perhaps we would not be looking at design in its conventional way today. My intention is to share with you the perspectives about the reality which I have learned over past years, and because my belief is that the moment our perspective about reality changes, our sense towards designing for it evolves simultaneously. So let's start with the first story for the day. We shape our buildings and thereafter our buildings shape us. This was a sentence that I came across right in the first semester at School of Planning and Architecture many years ago. And this forms the basis of the questions that kept coming to my mind. That can buildings actually affect us that much? If they do, then how and what is the language of communication between our body and the buildings? How to decode this language? Can we really design positive spaces? And if yes, then how? The answer to this, when I started my research, came from the words of Nikola Tesla, who said, if you wish to understand the universe, think of energy, frequency, and vibration. And similar thing was resonated when Einstein said, everything is energy and there's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want and you cannot help but get that. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy, this is physics. I'll just show you a small clipping and then we'll move forward, because it's a beautiful clipping, and I have taken these clipping from open source with gratitude to all those people who have made these, because they help explain in totality what bioenergetic architecture deals with.
To understand the foundations of the universe, first we must understand the language in which it speaks. The energetic, universal language, the foundation of all creation, is light. Light creates a pattern of energy movement which can be seen as specific shapes. These shapes are geometry. Geometry is defined as the blueprint of our universe, the underlying principle being mathematics, form, and rhythm. All matter, all elements come from this alphabet of simple shapes, starting with the circle, the mother of all creation with no beginning and no end. The circle, when replicating itself in order to experience relationship, forms the Vesica Pisces. If it continues to repeat itself in this way, it forms the pattern from which all creation is birthed, the flower of life. This pattern, this language can be seen in nature, music, architecture, astrology, and your DNA. They all communicate in this universal language represented by the patterns of geometry. Through forming a conscious communion with this universal language of energetic patterns, we begin to unlock dormant potential within ourselves which lies sleeping deep within our divine human instruments. Human beings are bioelectrical systems made up of cell membranes which can be thought of as minuscule antennae, able to detect, translate, and utilize this geometric language of light. Each cell in our bodies acts as a broadcaster, receiving and transmitting the energy which flows through the environment in order to produce charge. Everything in our environment carries an electromagnetic field, an EMF, invisible to the human eye. Environmental exposures to artificial EMFs can interact with fundamental biological processes in the human body. We receive EMFs from our sun and our earth, which sync harmoniously with our natural frequency. Our bodies, however, not able to differentiate between natural EMFs and man-made EMFs, causing a frequency pollution in our atmosphere and throwing our bodies out of their natural alignment.
So we saw a lot about this word vibration being talked about. And I'm sure each one of us is also familiar with this experience that we move into a space, some new space, and even though it's a very beautifully designed place, but we are not comfortable. Some part of us is not really at ease. And that's when we say, I'm not getting a good vibe here. Vice versa, we might go to a very modest space and we feel very energized. So we experientially know that there's something more to a place and its relation with us than just the sensory perception. So let's go a little deeper into what these vibrations are and how do they work, because that will be a very good basis of understanding this. I'll introduce you to this law of vibration, which says nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. Matter is merely energy in a state of vibration. Everything has its own vibrational frequency, each object, and even our thoughts and intention. Now, taking you further, you may be, some of us may be familiar with the word resonance because it comes it's very relevant to the discussion of vibration, how objects of different frequencies impact each other. And for this, I'll show you a small clipping. So there are certain interesting takeaways from this experiment. It seemed all the metronomes were communicating with each other somehow, and eventually all achieved a common vibrational frequency. The lone metronome with a different frequency eventually resonated with all others. And interesting part is we are not much different from the metronomes. We also get impacted by the predominant vibrations around us. And some of us must be remembering our parents telling us in the childhood, Jaisi Sangat, Vaisi Rangat. This is exactly the same thing. The manner, whether it's people or whether it's environment, whatever we surround ourselves with, we start vibrating at the same level eventually. And this was a small demonstration of the same thing. Now, since we are into the field of design and we're curious to know how do these vibrations impact design, let's ask this question: do vibrations have shape and form? And there's a whole subject called cymatics, and some of you must be aware of these, even this clipping, but I'll show it nonetheless so that we can take it forward from here. So now there's a question that if every frequency has a particular shape, does it mean that every shape would also have a particular frequency to it? And that's something that we can keep it as at the back of our mind as we go forward, because ultimately our question is about well-being, about relationship of human beings and vibrations. So let us put ourselves this question: how do vibrations impact human beings? And here I would bring your attention to the word aura. Some of us would be familiar with this, or many of us have seen a halo around some of sages. And we have in our own tradition known that there is a life energy which is known as Pran Shakti. And now the Western science has also started to recognize it, and they have given it a field of name of biofield. They say biofield is a matrix of natural electromagnetic fields that connect cell, tissues, organs, and serve as the main communication network and regulator of life. Essentially, Dr. Beverly Rubik says we need to understand that we are electrical beings. Energy imbalances and blockages can occur in our biofield due to trauma, stress, deficiency, and a lot of electronic devices. This is most important. When cells are not able to communicate properly, disease happens. And now we have got cameras by which we are able to map this invisible field or biofield or aura around a person. And on the left hand side you can see very regular aura, and it becomes distorted due to any kind of influence arising from the factors that I shared with you earlier. The biofield within our body is managed through energy meridians and hubs, and most significant of are the 7 energy hubs. Some of you may be aware they are called as chakras, and they are given a certain color. Now these chakras, they correspond with the network of nerves, also called as nerve plexus, at various parts of the human body, and each nerve plexus is responsible for the functioning of the organs of that region. Interestingly, a disease is known to appear as a disruption of corresponding chakra 6 to 8 weeks before it manifests on the physical level. What does it mean? Any positive or negative influence of the environment will first appear as a good or bad health of energy chakra. Remember, we started this story with a question in mind, that what is the mode of communication between human body and the environment? And now we are getting some clues, because each chakra also corresponds to a certain frequency, as you can see. And if we were to recap this story, everything in an environment, all forms, colors, shapes, objects, including people, their thoughts, their intentions, is communicating with our biofield. And this is happening continuously at the subtle level. And our biofield is also influenced by the vibration and information fields of our built environment and the earth and cosmic energies. And here we are going to look at well-being from a very holistic point of view, not only physical or mental. We are going to look at energetic well-being, because that's the basis of the physical and mental well-being. We can control the effect of environment on our biofield by controlling the cause through space, sound, colors, geometry, and even conscious intent. And that is the science behind bioenergetic architecture. So